It's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm smileyarriaga. Belly Bean. I'm sorry.
And today we are going to talk Lesnar's second run with WWE because it is 10 years since he returned to WWE. And we're going to jump right into it. Right after WrestleMania 28, 2012, John Cena loses to The Rock. The next night on Raw, he wants to bring out The Rock and say, hey, man, I lost respect. And out comes Lesnar. And him and John Cena off to the races to Extreme Rules. Kind of off-brand for WWE at this time because they were going to they're already head on into a more family-friendly product. So, Smiley, what do you think about this returning Lesnar match against John Cena?
Well, when Lesnar returned, that was actually kind of crazy because I remember at that point, like the only sightings we would see of Brock Lesnar in any kind of WWE space or the only idea of we had of Lesnar coming back to any WWE space was the video games. Like we would always there was like this rumor of secretly unlocking Brock Lesnar in SmackDown versus Raw. You know, it was never true, but we'd always because we never thought he would ever come back. So the only way we would see him was as a creative character in a video game. So seeing Lesnar come back at that point, that was like 2012.
Yep.
Yeah, that was insane. That was actually like, oh shit. Like, and I wonder like, oh geez, you're gonna be more violent. And before I can even ask that question in my head, him and John Cena were killing each other. John Cena was hemorrhaging from the mouth. It was that was a crazy sight, honestly. At that point, as a kid, my jaw just like dropped, like, oh shit, okay.
What do you think of the match?
Match was awesome. I thought, if the match sucked, I probably would be more annoyed with the fact that Lesnar didn't win. But the match was so awesome that I didn't think Lesnar looked weak. But I probably would have had Lesnar win. I mean, that's like it's John Cena. He was all bloodied when he cut that promo after the match, and he could have still done that even if he lost. Lesnar could have won, and Cena could have still cut that same promo. So I was like, Lesnar probably should have won his first match back. But I don't know. Like to me, it didn't make him look weak or anything like that. I wasn't like, oh, Lesnar's weak now. But it was just, yeah, that match was really good. It was so good. Very underrated.
It was really good. I liked it. When I first saw it, I didn't care that John Cena won. However, with the benefit of hindsight, of course, Lesnar should have won that. He's returning. He's a bigger star than he was when he left WWE in 2004. So he should have won pretty decisively. There was really no point of John Cena winning this this match at all. Well, I guess if you look at it in hindsight, John Cena did go on to challenge for the WWE title against CM Punk at SummerSlam with Big Show, which nobody remembers. But so yeah, but at the same time, Lesnar's first match.
Wait, Big Show?
Yeah, it was a triple. We don't even talk about that, but you don't even worry about that. But yeah, John Cena shouldn't have won this, and Lesnar. Again, John Cena winning this was, to me, it felt like and him cutting the promo after was just like it felt like it's just another match for John Cena, but it wasn't. It was against Lesnar, Brock Lesnar. So Lesnar should have won this. Okay, so the next time John Cena and Lesnar would face, we just talked about it, would be 2 years later at SummerSlam for the world title. And this was a fucking killer match, meaning Lesnar killed Brock. Lesnar killed John Cena. Long day. So what did you think of this match, this squash match?
Oh, this match, we kind of talked about before, but this was an example that this match was an example of why a squash match should be short, not long. I don't really mind Lesnar squashing John Cena, suplexing him 16 times, however many times, but that should have been the match. There should have been Cena having a comeback, and then it was like a whole match within a squash match. It was kind of funny, but at the same time, I don't know. In hindsight, yeah, definitely should have been shorter. I don't know. At first, I thought people had a problem with this being a squash match. I didn't have a problem with that with Lesnar killing. It's Brock Lesnar. If there's anyone who should be doing that, it's him.
I don't know. When I first saw it, when we all watched it, I didn't care too much for the match. I'm like, I just sat through 3.5 hours of 3 hours of stuff. And 2004, summer 2014, WWE was not the greatest, and Bryan Danielson was fucked up, so he was gone. So it wasn't the most exciting product to watch. The Lesnar stuff was the best part. And it was so one-sided because I'm not used to that. At the time, I wasn't using that from wrestling. Wrestling, you used to back and forth contests. UFC, you don't know what you're gonna get. It's a different ball game, which is fine, but like I wasn't expecting that from wrestling. But if the idea was to make Lesnar look like a killer, this is the way to do it. But however, if you, like you said, you shave off 10 minutes from this would have been amazing. Just he kills him, he kills him, and come back, he kills him, and it's over. That's it. It would have been like, oh my God, it would have been amazing. But, and it was better than I remembered it, but still, again, the crowd started to chant, this was boring. When, the crowd was hot in the beginning, they were chanting for Cena sucks, let's go Cena, whatever. And then there was a whole middle of nothingness, and the crowd got bored. They started to chant boring. It was faint, but like it was time to go home. But anyway.
Yeah, because they were having a match, and then the squash match began, like kind of halfway through the match.
Yeah, but whatever. But yeah, it was fine, but it would have been much better if it was shorter. But anyway, Lesnar's second program within WWE's second return was against Triple H. Later the summer of 2012, right? He's coming off of murdering John Cena and losing. But so the program with Hunter, and it leads to, because I thought this was kind of cool because Lesnar was coming back, and his whole idea is bring legitimacy back, and he had all these crazy demands, and he wanted Raw to be called Raw starring Lesnar, and it was
talking about that goofy contract signing.
Yeah, then Triple H had to put a kibosh to it. He was like, "This no," and then Lesnar beat the shit out of him, and then led to a match. And Hunter's character, and in real life, he was doing more office work. So this was Triple H putting on his wrestler cap. He's coming off a big win over CM Punk, which we talked about ad nauseum. We won't bring up those can of worms again. But he goes to SummerSlam, and he kills Shawn Michaels for heat, and then Triple H gets mad. And then, you know what? I didn't really like this match when I saw it the first time. But in hindsight, I thought it was great. I watched it recently, and it was really good. They told a really good story, and again, this is another match that if you took 5 minutes off, it'd have been far better, but it was fine,
Was this the match when Lesnar had that scary looking face when he put Triple H in the Kimura?
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary. But what did you think of this match?
I didn't really care for this match when I first saw it. I cared mainly. It's weird. I liked the second match they had where Triple H came back at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
the cage match. But the thing is,
the cage match was Extreme Rules. But yeah, go on.
Oh, the cage match was Extreme Rules. Oh wait, well, the second match that was at WrestleMania. It was like a no holds barred or whatever.
Yes,
that's the thing. I like that match better than the first one they had at SummerSlam. But the thing is, Triple H shouldn't have won the match at WrestleMania at all.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But the SummerSlam match, what did you think?
The first one. I don't remember that. I don't remember caring for that too much. I remember the finish and how like he pretty much broke Triple H's arm, and Triple H was like, "Oh, my arm!" You didn't see him until I think he attacked Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
he attacked somebody. He attacked one of the McMahons. It was definitely Vince. It wasn't Shane. It wasn't Shane. He attacked Vince, and then Triple H shaved his head. He came back and he beat up.
That was much later, but okay, yeah, So. Yeah, the SummerSlam match was not the very, but I liked it in retrospect. But you're jumping all over the place. But yeah, the match we'll talk about now. So after Lesnar kills Triple H at SummerSlam, even that was a one match show, but we won't. Yeah, he comes back at WrestleMania, and they had a match. They had a no holds barred match. Yes, it was better than the SummerSlam match, but Triple H wins clean. Why? I don't get it. Oh, what did you think of it? You talked about it a little bit. What did you think of this whole deal? Triple H winning and just the match in general.
The parts where Lesnar was killing Triple H were amazing. There was one part where he literally threw him across the announce table, and then the camera panned back to Brock Lesnar, and he's like ferociously screaming like a maniac.
And the mic peaks. Yeah.
I just remember like rewinding that part a lot. Like
A lot. Yeah, it's great.
this match was really good. I actually the only part I didn't like about this match was the finish. Was I just didn't think Triple H. It's another case in WrestleMania where I think Triple H did not need to win.
No.
Yeah.
He was in the
Definitely not
office at
this
this
guy.
time. He did not need to. Lesnar's booking initially in his second comeback was fucking all over the place. Like, why did Triple H have to win? He broke your arm, so what? It's Lesnar.
I think he was mainly getting revenge for Vince, but here's the thing: you could have still attempted to get your revenge on Vince and lost. Like he tries to get one over on Lesnar, and Lesnar just overpowers him.
Yeah, Lesnar should have stayed undefeated for a while, to me, because he wasn't. He had limited dates, so he had limited schedule, so he should have stayed. It's supposed to be a big deal. When Lesnar showed up, even now, when he shows up, it's a big deal. So you beating him means nothing. And you were going. It's not like Triple H was challenging for the title. He was in the office, so why did he need to win? Whatever. Anyway, the Extreme Rules cage match. I saw it when it happened on pay-per-view. It was fine. It was fine. It was good, but I don't remember it. It wasn't that memorable. Especially coming off that Triple H winning was kind of just flat after that. But anyway, what did you think of the match? Do you remember much of it?
I literally, you see, here's the thing. Like, I think there's a reason why I mistake this for the WrestleMania match, because literally, it was kind of the same idea, except the Extreme Rules match was in a cage, and Lesnar won over. I think the purpose of this, in hindsight, the purpose of the Extreme Rules match. Okay, well, you lost that Mania. How about we just have you win in this show, and you guys can pretty much have the same match you had, but in a cage, and Lesnar wins.
Yep, exactly. There was no. It's not like there was any. It was a no holds barred match, so there's no real interference. There was no real reason to set up a cage match. It was like you're playing the video game and you have one match, you have one crazy match, like, let's do a cage match now, just because.
Yeah, basically.
It's really exactly what it is. And I know the one thing I remember from the cage match is Triple H's silver sledgehammer. That's that's silver. I have to rewatch that match. Let me, I remember liking it. But I don't, it wasn't that all that memorable. But
a silver sledgehammer?
Yeah, it just didn't need to happen. This is
what? I don't remember that.
Okay. Now the next Lesnar match from 2013 is a match we still talk about to this day, at least me and you. CM Punk, SummerSlam, and this was a no holds barred match, and this was amazing. This was on a loaded show too. What'd you think?
This was probably the only match that was better than Danielson's match with Cena that night. Was CM Punk and Lesnar. Both of those matches happened on the same night.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So that was probably the only. Like Danielson and Cena was amazing, but the only match that was better than that was CM Punk and Lesnar. And I loved when he fought AJ and Danielson later. But I personally, this was like probably my favorite Lesnar match when he came back. This match was insane. Like the story was incredible because at this point, CM Punk wanted to kill Paul Heyman because Paul Heyman had double crossed him. So Paul Heyman was like, "Oh, you want to kill me?" And he brought out Brock Lesnar, and everyone was like, "Oh shit!" And Lesnar destroyed CM Punk on Raw, and then he proceeded to destroy him on SummerSlam.
Yeah, CM Punk fought pretty, he fought hard. He was a valiant babyface. But this was an ass kick. This was, it's funny, he put up a better fight than John Cena did a year later, but it was really good because CM Punk, he was coming off the Undertaker match, right? And he was
no, this was before the Undertaker match, wasn't it?
No, it was after.
Oh yeah,
CM Punk went into that as a heel, and then he turned baby when Paul Heyman betrayed him at Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah, so you're right.
He had to be a babyface going up against Lesnar. It's like, what? Lesnar being a come behind babyface against CM Punk, that doesn't make any sense. But this was good booking over here, and the match was great, and I loved it, and I still think about it, and I still watch it till this day. It's really good stuff.
No, like there's
Yeah.
multiple parts of this match where I thought that Punk was gonna win. That's like that's how you know they did a good job with him as a babyface at this time, because there were parts where it was like, "Whoa, wait, he could win," and then but then Lesnar eventually killed him.
Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff. So 2014, Lesnar's next big program was against The Undertaker, WrestleMania 30. Punk was gone already, and there was all that wackiness. So this match was no good. Through nobody's fault, because Lesnar, Undertaker got concussed, and it was just he didn't know where he was when he got to the hospital. Vince had to go with him, and it was insane.
Yeah, that was actually pretty crazy.
I guess we could just talk about like the idea of Lesnar beating the streak. What did you think at the time and looking back?
I thought honestly it was weird because like I know the live reaction obviously we saw that everyone was like shocked as hell. It was like holy shit. But but us like maybe we were just kind of more cynical about it. We kind of didn't care maybe because the match was so awful. Like we kind of just like well this match sucks and wait the streak is over. What the hell? It didn't really hit us until the match was over.
The match was a non-factor, which is the idea of him pinning him, and it was just the arena was silent, and and it was insane. Like I was shocked. And if the idea was to shock Vince, you achieve. And I always thought that the streak would always be protected forever. But listen, I think personally that Undertaker should have just retired undefeated at WrestleMania. That's it. But if you're going to beat the streak, Lesnar was the perfect guy. He was the perfect guy. And his wonky booking coming in, this kind of made up for it. And 2014 was like Lesnar's killer year. And the night after WrestleMania, when he debuted that new shirt, Eat, Sleep, Conquer the Streak, and he became the Conqueror, and it's just really good stuff. Crazy heat, and it was amazing. And this got a lot of mainstream news press. I remember I was working college radio at WKRB, and I was putting together a news report, and in the Associated Press ticker, they talked about Undertaker losing the streak, and I remember Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, they talked about it.
Yeah, and Charlemagne was like, "What the fuck, WWE?" And then Envy was like, "Wait a minute, you're giving WWE Donkey of the Day because they scripted it wrong." And Charlemagne was like, "Yep." I still think about that. Hysterical. Yeah, but I don't know.
Like with this match, like I don't know, it made me crazy. Like it obviously a streak ending. Like yeah, you're right. The match was a non-factor, even though like it wasn't like a good match, but it was a non-factor with Lesnar beating the streak. I just think like maybe the only thing that would have made it even more impactful, and obviously yes, it's no fault to the wrestlers. I guess if Undertaker hadn't gotten a concussion, and the match went better as planned, obviously it didn't have to go long. And the match went better as planned. It would have been more impactful because because there are multiple times and like you look back with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. There are multiple times where you think, oh wait, Shawn Michaels might win because like the way he built his matches. Like
they had no time to tell the story, and it wasn't their fault.
Like that's what happens when injuries happen like that. Like sometimes let's just go to the finish, and everyone's like, wait, oh that was the finish?
Yep.
Fuck, like it was.
Imagine Undertaker beating Lesnar and him being like carted out. And he doesn't remember. It's just what they did. They did the right thing. H,
like that. I didn't even like that much, honestly.
Oh yeah, the Undertaker met. Yeah,
the first Triple H.
Yeah, exactly. It was hard. Yeah. Everybody remember the Hell in a Cell was memorable. Okay, so Undertaker and Lesnar's second program, because they wrestled in Lesnar's first run.
Oh yeah, they did.
They had a match at SummerSlam 2015, which was not memorable. They had a Hell in a Cell match that followed. That was very bloody and violent, and I remember not liking this all that much.
I didn't care. Like he ripped open the ring or whatever. And
yeah, they destroyed the ring.
I just didn't care. That's the thing.
Yeah, I didn't really care, to be honest, at that point. So, okay, let's move on to earlier in 2015. It was a triple threat: John Cena, Seth Rollins, Lesnar, WWE title, Royal Rumble 2015. This was very, very good. This was a high octane, a lot of energy, just a lot of craziness. It was just a big car crash. I loved it. What'd you think?
You see, you remember how like it was with SummerSlam John Cena match? We said that like it was like they were building a match and then a squash match happened. This was that done right. Like they were having a nice triple threat match, but then in between was Lesnar killing everyone. But then there were certain points where like Seth Rollins would come back, Lesnar would kill him. John Cena would come back, Lesnar would kill him. They were both, and then at one point they were like, okay, let's both try to get this motherfucker. And they both got him out. And then they were, and then Cena and then Seth were trying to fight each other. Lesnar woke up, killed everyone again, and beat and then I think he didn't like, stack them on top of each other like Roman did Edge and Daniel Bryan, but he did, I think he beat Cena to protect Rollins.
Yeah.
No. He pinned Rollins. Because Rollins tried to curb stop him like on the Money in the Bank, and then he reversed it. Yeah, this match was really good. Not the biggest fan of triple threats. This one was amazing.
So Seth Rollins becomes a very important part in this next match at WrestleMania 31 against Roman Reigns, who won the Rumble that year. But this one, Roman was not too popular, because he was kind of being forced as the new top guy, the new next big thing, right? And he was booed out of the building at this match against Lesnar, which was extremely violent, and it was very entertaining, and it was the right amount of time. They didn't go too long. It was perfect. Bret Hart gave a seal of approval of this match, and I loved this match. What did you think of this first meeting of Lesnar and Roman?
Out of all the matches that Lesnar and Roman have had, there is not a single one that tops this one.
No, not
this
at
one
all.
was like this
Agreed.
one was sick as hell. Like I remember when I first saw it, in my head, this is kind of funny. The way I thought about it when I first saw it, my initial reaction that Roman and and Lesnar had a plan for the match. They were probably going to go back and forth or whatever, but the plan got thrown out the window because the match started and with Roman busting Lesnar open, and Lesnar was like, "Fuck the plan of the match. I'm gonna kill this guy." He proceeded to just throw him around the ring, and
this was an ass beating.
He took off his gloves. He took off his gloves while Roman was like laughing on the floor, and then he started hard smacking him. No, they had the slow motion cams replay this. Like,
I remember.
I'm sure. Obviously, this was the plan for the match, but it was funny in my head to think Lesnar is so scary that, oh, you bloodied me, now fuck the plan of the match, I'm gonna kill him. But the reality is that the truth is they both just had an amazing. This was an incredible way to get a new guy over, because of all the ways they tried to get Roman over after this and before this was the best way. Like, because at one point I started, oh my God, Brock, you're gonna kill him. Please don't hurt Roman, please. I actually started to feel bad for him. Roman was selling great. Roman,
he did a great job. It's too bad he wasn't popular. No one cared about him. I always thought Roman was good, but no one gave a shit about him. But
in the words of Roman was like, I remember Roman talk about this match. He was like, well, it's easy to sell because it hurts like hell. So
Roman, the one thing I liked about Lesnar's character when he came back was it was like there was a certain one, he had a superstar aura because he was a killer in UFC, but like there was always a hint of like, oh my God, Lesnar might be going off the reservation. He might be going into business for himself. He might be turning this into a shoot, and every one of his matches felt that way.
He's probably gonna kill this guy. Like,
yeah, exactly. But then Seth Rollins cashed it in, and Seth became the new champion. Lesnar was pissed, of course, and and then him and Roman will go on to wrestle again at WrestleMania 34 in 2018, and the crowd booed both of them out of the building, and that was sad. And they were building up. Will Roman kick out of that 5? But no one gave a shit about Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah, the second one they had.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
I don't know what the hell happened with this.
It just wasn't good. No one cared. No one wanted to see it again. Really?
Yeah, Lesnar was pissed off. I remember Lesnar being mad.
Yeah, and there was a clip online of him throwing the belt. Yeah, and then they wrestled again at SummerSlam 2018. Not as good as the WrestleMania 31 match, but it was still very good, very quick, right to the point, in and out, and that was it. The crowd loved that when Roman Reigns won. So people started to come into Roman Reigns. Okay. So going back to the Jon Moxley program, WrestleMania 32, a year later in 2016. No holds barred. What did you think of this match?
Oh, Moxley and
yes,
and Lesnar.
Yep.
Oh wow! I love the build up to this match. The build up was great.
It's
Build up was
phenomenal.
like I remember there was one point Lesnar beat the shit out of Dean. He left him in a pile of his own skin, and then Dean barely he barely scraped up the energy to grab a microphone, and it was like no holds barred at WrestleMania. And then Lesnar came back, killed him again, and accepted. It was great. It was actually great. I thought the match was going to be really good. It was easy. Like on paper, you have a crazy small guy like Dean, Moxley, and you have a big scary guy like Lesnar. Dean is going to try to use all of his tools against Lesnar. Lesnar's going to say fuck that and kill him. But for some reason, I don't know what happened when this match happened. I just remember the only thing I remember this match honestly was Lesnar trying to suplex Dean into a pile of chairs and he missed. And then they went home.
Right? I think he got the fire extinguisher too. I think that was
Dean came in with a whole cart full of gimmicks and weapons and he used none of them.
And Mick Foley and Terry Funk basically passed the torch to him. And it just led to nothing. This was almost like this was worse, but you remember the Kenny Omega John Moxley exploding barbed wire match, how the post match it was nothing. This was like the match version of that. His match with Lesnar was a match version of just a nothing.
The match the fart was longer. It was just
a long fart. It was a long stinky fart too.
It was a 10-minute long fart. It was what the hell?
Match. I don't know, like a 5-hour show. That show was 5 hours long. The Rock took 20 minutes to light up his name. And this got 11 minutes or however long it was. It was embarrassing. It was terrible. But I think they gave John Moxley the belt later that summer. Okay. So Lesnar would have a crazy eventful 2016 following this match because SummerSlam, he had a match against the returning Randy Orton.
Oh, that match was great.
Event. Yeah.
That match was really good.
It was excellent. I thought it was fucking great because this was just you get in and you get the fuck out. It was the bare bones. It was basic. It was simple. Lesnar came off as a monster. Randy Orton came up. He was a fighting babyface. It was amazing. And I don't think Randy is that believable as a babyface, in my opinion. I think he's a better heel. And this match was interesting because not only watching it, but backstage, Jericho and Lesnar got into an altercation too after the match because Jericho thought, like I said before, Jericho thought that Lesnar was going into, going off the reservation.
He thought it was a shoot.
No, and it's no, it's a work. Come on.
Even going back to the buildup of this match, with Randy Orton, it was teases Randy Orton's first match, his comeback match. Oh shit, they're gonna give him Lesnar. I didn't think they're gonna do that much, to be honest. But the buildup was insane because I remember on one Raw, excuse me, jelly beans. Paul Heyman was cutting this promo with Lesnar in the ring, and the camera was just zoomed in on Lesnar while Paul Heyman was cutting his promo. Randy Orton can't survive the F5. He can't survive the Beast. And while Heyman's talking, you just see Lesnar's direction. He's looking at the camera. But then while Heyman is talking, you see Lesnar's, his eyes move downward. And all of a sudden, Randy Orton just freaking... You just see Randy Orton's arms, and he RKOs the shit out of Lesnar, rolls out of the ring, and everyone loses their minds. That was really... I thought that was amazing. I thought that was, and this was the end of Raw. Usually at the end of Raw, everyone's bored. Everyone was red hot for Randy Orton. Everyone was red hot.
The announcers sold the brand split again because this is when they split it up. The shows, the rosters
actually again. Felt like a brand split. It's a smack because
Randy Orton, how dare that SmackDown guy come on the show? And that was the first, and then they stopped caring. But it was interesting. It was an interesting program. And what'd you think of Lesnar busting Randy hard way?
I didn't think he had to do it for real. I didn't think he had to elbow him. I think he could have just I don't know, threw him outside, elbowed him, and then Randy could have played. I didn't think he'd have to do. I mean, I thought it was shocking.
Yeah, it was. It was fucking. It looked like they want Lesnar to be a murderer, and that's what they did.
it looked like a murder scene at the end of the match.
It was
It was
bad.
awesome.
And that's what Jericho got mad because he thought he was actually hurting Randy. And Randy Orton actually got a concussion from that.
Yeah, he did. Like that probably wasn't the best. The whole busting him open hard way probably wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, I think they made up for it by giving him the world. He won the Royal Rumble 2017 and became the champion. So I guess they made up for it. But okay, so that was fucking great. But then Brock Lesnar closes out 2016 by doing a match that was I never thought would ever happen again. The returning Goldberg. So it was Brock Lesnar and Goldberg at Survivor Series 2016.
Oh yeah.
This was like a minute long. What'd you think?
Here's the thing. I get the idea. It was shocking that I guess so I was surprised to see Goldberg beat Lesnar. I actually did like when Goldberg returned the first time. Around that time, I loved Goldberg's promos on Raw. That returning promo that he had when he came back was really.
You said when he returned the first? You mean when he came back, like his first run in like 03,
when he came back like in 2016 or whatever.
Yeah, gotcha.
I thought his promos were amazing. In hindsight, Goldberg winning the title, like, I guess in hindsight,
are you jumping? You're jumping around. Lesnar Goldberg Survivor Series.
I mean,
it wasn't for the belt.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. That's the thing. It's hard for me to talk about that one match without thinking about the whole scope of their feud because, like, the only I didn't think their feud needed the title. Their feud was actually fine, I guess, in hindsight. It's like
we're gonna get to that. What do you Survivor Series? The 1 minute match.
It was okay. It was fine.
Okay.
Like Lesnar. I think I remember Goldberg shoving him. And everyone lost, and everyone was like, kind of, oh wow, Goldberg shoved him, because Lesnar sold it well, and I think he speared him, got him into a jackhammer, and the match was over. I don't know, there wasn't really much to go off of. It was a squash match. I guess I didn't really care because I was just like, oh, okay.
I think that because when I first saw this, when we first watched this. Okay, we just went through like a 3.5 hour show, a long ass show. And then the main event, a minute. I was like, oh, that's it. But in hindsight, it's like, okay, this is the best way to re-debut Goldberg. Because the last match they did fucking blew chunks of ass. It was terrible. They didn't care. They were both leaving, and the crowd knew they were both leaving. It was in front of Madison Square Garden, the smartest wrestling crowd next to Chicago and Philly. So they were like, fuck you guys. And
that was WrestleMania 20.
Yeah. And then Lesnar and Goldberg were like, fuck you guys too. And they had a shitty match. So this was perfect. And Goldberg was doing Goldberg. Because when you debut a guy who's, it's basically a nostalgia act, right? Not in something Goldberg, but like he's from the past. And he hasn't wrestled in a long time.
You're right. It was a nostalgia act.
Yeah. You have to, at first, play the hits. And Goldberg played the hits. It was fine. Now, moving on, WrestleMania, Goldberg has the belt. Yes, I agree with you. I don't think Goldberg, this program did not need the belt. He beats Kevin Owens, and KO looked like a loser. Let's be honest. It was a distraction finish. It was so stupid. Jericho distracted him, and it was dumb. It didn't need the belt. And it wasn't even the main events. The main event was Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns and Undertaker. So what was the point of that? But anyway, the WrestleMania match, what did you think?
The WrestleMania match I thought was great because, like, here's the thing: the 1 minute Goldberg squash match I didn't care for it. The 6 minute one was really good because, like, actually, I actually got to there was time for me to actually digest something. They started off hot off the gate. I remember early in the match, Goldberg speared Lesnar through a barricade. There was a part where Lesnar took Goldberg down to the ground, and he did his little he screamed at the crowd. But then the way the camera was looking at Lesnar, Goldberg it almost he shot up from the ground and speared Lesnar there are a lot of great shots in this. And they packed a lot of great moments in 6 minutes. This match was really good. It did not need a championship at all. It still would have been one of the coolest matches of the night without the title.
Lesnar, Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 19. That was a half hour long. Two amateur wrestlers, two pro wrestlers trying to out wrestle each other. Goldberg and Lesnar, completely different animal. Two big hosses going at it. They got in, they got out, they did their things, they did their big power moves, and that was it. And it was amazing. The crowd loved it. The crowd was super hot. And Lesnar champion again. This was good stuff. Much better than the Survivor Series match, but it was exactly what it was supposed to be, and then some. Good stuff.
I feel like I feel like they wanted to do this match at Survivor Series, but they wanted to extend the feud a little longer, so they just like didn't like.
The logical thing was to follow it up at the next big show, which was WrestleMania, which was perfect. And for Lesnar to get his revenge, good stuff. 2017. Okay, after the Goldberg match, he gets into a program with Samoa Joe at the only Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Stupid fucking name, but great program. Now, I thought the build-up to this match was tremendous. Remember, Samoa Joe goes up to Paul Heyman off mic, and he says, "Listen carefully. Something bad's gonna happen." And he
They close up. They did a close up on both of them, and like I guess they didn't have any mics in hand, but you just heard Samoa Joe like this quietly threaten Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was like, "Please, no, please," like quietly, and then like before you know it, Samoa Joe is choking Paul Heyman.
Yes, it was just amazing. But the match, 6 minutes.
But also a part of the buildup, we skipped one part. A week later, Lesnar came out to respond, and Samoa Joe came from behind and literally choked out Lesnar and turned him purple.
Yeah, that's right.
Lesnar purple. That was even crazier.
This is great stuff. The match. What did you think of the match?
I don't know what happened.
I literally don't know what happened. Not that memorable. There was a Uranagi on the announce table.
Yeah, like the first few minutes, like they were brawling outside.
Yeah.
And then the match started, and then like they just did some moves and went home.
Yeah, it's like you go to a restaurant and you order an entree, but then they just give you dessert and give you the check, and then you go home. It's like, wait, what? I didn't even get my entree yet. Why are you giving me dessert and why are you giving me the check?
This is like, not to jump around, but the feeling of this match was like if Lesnar and AJ sucked. Like the feeling of like, wait, two amazing guys who would be like on paper would be like, why would they have a bad match? And they had a bad match. Like, what the hell happened?
They just went home too quickly. It just like it was beginning and then it was over. It was like, what happened?
Structure to this.
Nothing. There was no. It was so disappointing. And Samoa Joe and whatever. If it was anywhere else, if this happened in like Pro Wrestling No or New Japan, it would have been far better. Okay.
Better.
I think Lesnar made up for this. Survivor Series 2017. AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. Go.
Yeah, this match was fantastic. I never thought this match would it was like, oh wow, wait, they never wrestled before. It was insanely good. There was even one part of this match that if any two wrestlers, if it was any of the two wrestlers, it would have been a botch. But AJ and Lesnar somehow turned what could have been a botch. They're so good that they turned what could have been a botch into like a cool looking move. Like there was one part where AJ tried to do a tornado DDT, and I think his leg slipped, but Lesnar, I think quickly in midair while they were falling, he slammed AJ's face into the ground. Like it made it look like he reversed it. Like that's how good these guys are. It's like two anomalies going at each other. Like this match was incredible.
Yeah, they told a really good story. AJ is the high flyer, and Lesnar was like the ground and pound. Even though we all know Lesnar can fly, I've seen it, and he has heights like you wouldn't even believe. For his size, he's insane. But it's a really perfect story. My God, I think about this match all the time. It was amazing. AJ Styles is he's next level. Lesnar's next level. You had two alphas going at it. Would love to see them do another match. And it was interesting because Lesnar sold a lot for AJ. He sold a lot. And even after he won, he was struggling to walk a little bit.
Yeah, he was like limping to the back.
Man, it's
He did the
cold.
same for he did sell a lot for Punk. He did like he didn't like
He did. Oh yeah, he gave Punk a lot. Yeah,
he sold a lot for Punk. Like
yeah, with AJ, it was just like this was like the little things. The little things. Lesnar was like, he was amazing here. Oh my god, and AJ, you know, of course, he's just literally phenomenal. Okay. Now the next program, is Bryan Danielson a year later.
Yeah,
And
this
is when Bryan Danielson was reinventing himself. You know, he was going crazy heel. This is before the Kofi match. What do you think of this?
I love the story to this match because pretty much the story, and it wasn't Danielson wasn't able to explain it until the SmackDown after, but pretty much the story of this match, Danielson had just turned heel, and he just got a match with Brock Lesnar. At this point, Danielson was being cheered. And like I think Lesnar was sort of being cheered a little bit too because they were both really liked.
Because they're both good. In
Yeah.
WWE now, if you're in wrestling now, generally speaking, if you're so good in your role, more likely not you will be cheered.
Yeah, like the story of this match was interesting because pretty much Danielson was trying to have Lesnar beat the weakness out of him, beat the good out of him. So pretty much the match started with Danielson taunting Lesnar, and Lesnar's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Danielson's like taunting him, like in like making fun of his little dance that Lesnar does. And at some point early, Lesnar was like, fuck this guy, and he started like, yo, mind you, Danielson that just came back from everyone thought he was never going to wrestle again from like a major neck injury. Everyone thought he was never going to wrestle again. The first thing Lesnar did to him was drop him right on his head. And I was freaking scared. I was like no. Oh God, he's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill him. Like Danielson's gonna be back next Monday, like with a super neck brace on. Be like, I gotta retire again. I thought that's after that first suplex. Holy shit! And Danielson sold it. He sold it like at first he was kind of just like dazed, like wow, this is kind of crazy. But then eventually he was in like writhing pain for like the first half of the match. Like Lesnar just kept suplexing and like he kept bear hugging him and like they did like a lot of like some stuff you see in a Japanese match, like a bear hug, like so like the psychology in this match was great,
insane.
Like Lesnar was just like, okay, you want me to beat you up? I can do this all night long. He literally said that. Like,
his trash talking was elite. It was elite.
And so was Heyman's. Like,
and then he picked him up for the F5. Good night, everybody. Oh, brilliant.
No, it was like a talk show when he did that. But like, Danielson was like selling like. His selling was unreal in this
out
match.
Of this world. Yeah, this match was go
like
out of your way to watch this. If anybody's got Peacock, if you think WWE sucks now, go out of your way to watch this. It was just like this doesn't like it's amazing. It was a masterclass in selling and the only reason why this match and the AJ match happened is because the Survivor Series gimmick is that we have to pick the main SmackDown champion has to go against the Raw champion. Yeah, but the match was a classic. It was timeless. It's fucking brilliant. It was a great.
Like the second half, Danielson like at this point people aren't getting quiet, but I took it as like I was worried for Danielson, like, oh God, if you're gonna kill him, just end it. But then at some point, Danielson had a great comeback. And
amazing comeback.
Exploded. Everyone exploded.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Lesnar still got the better of him at one point, but like, man, this was like the John Cena and Lesnar match done right. Like, it wasn't as long. It was a little shorter than him and AJ, but
it didn't need to be that. Yeah, it was perfect time. The length of this match was perfect.
Like it felt like like I watch this all the time. It feels like like, oh man, it's a very watchable match. It's really good.
It was. Okay, so his next major program was Seth Rollins. And this is when Seth Rollins was like the hottest he was as a babyface. He won the Royal Rumble and he goes to WrestleMania to face Lesnar. I was there. They opened the show with him because they were doing Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey and Charlotte in the main event. They announced they were doing the women's main event. So fine. So this was quick. This was in and out. Match was not that memorable, but it was everything. They did everything they needed to do, and they went home quickly. And the crowd lost their shit when Seth Rollins won.
This
It
was
was
the
fine.
opening of WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, it was fine. It was great. You know, nice to see Seth won. The crowd, 60,000 people, like just this was the it was amazing. Um, what I really want to talk about is after this, after Lesnar loses Money in the Bank that year, Lesnar, I think he was a surprise entrant in the Money in the Bank. He wins it without even trying. He just climbs the ladder and grabs the thing. But this is when we got Boombox Lesnar. Boombox Lesnar. He comes out every week, the Money in the Bank, and he's like,
Wait a minute, was this? Oh wait, no, because this was before Lesnar eventually cashed in the boombox.
Yeah.
Remember the night he cashed in the boot? Like it was a dumb mixed tag with Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch and Seth. And like I don't think anyone was really into that match.
Nobody at all.
Yeah, at some point, Lesnar came out and cashed in the Money in the Bank on Seth and beat him.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how the mixed tag ended.
It doesn't matter. But the boombox Lesnar was very entertaining. He would come out and he had the briefcase like a boombox, and he would just kind of like rock out a little bit.
It was kind of fitting because you hear like record scratches in his songs, so like the boombox was very fitting. Actually, he had his hood on.
What'd you think about Lesnar's like comedic and entertaining side?
When Lesnar's funny because he's usually hilarious when he doesn't try to be. Like I don't know, he never hams it up. Like he's like naturally funny because he's kind of scary. So when he does things that are kind of off color, it comes off as like genuinely funny. Like like Lesnar, like this past SmackDown, Lesnar was chasing Paul Heyman backstage. You hear like Heyman go, "Stop him! Stop him! Stop him!" And Lesnar was like running people over like a human truck. It was incredible. Like things like that. Like he's so intense. That even when he's funny, like it still comes off as genuinely comedic.
He has a lot of side. Like this second run of Lesnar, like he's a killer, and he's entertaining. He's comedic, but he can switch back to a killer in a heartbeat.
No, but he was always genuinely fun. Like you remember him and Kurt Angle?
Yeah, they used to have
hilarious together.
Have milk drinking contests and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they had push-up contests and stuff like that. Like they were hilarious together. It was genuine comedy. It wasn't like goofy.
It wasn't forced. Yeah, it was very organic. And then Seth and Brock would wrestle at SummerSlam that year in Toronto. Great stuff.
I thought that match was way better than the WrestleMania match.
Yes, it was. Because it was the main event. The SummerSlam match was the main event. Yeah.
No, like, dude, but do you remember the first time him and Seth faced? It was a quick match at Battleground. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, then the Undertaker interfered.
Yeah. Like
it didn't really happen.
Yeah, exactly. But like at the same time, like the WrestleMania match was better, and the SummerSlam match, the third match he had with Rollins, was really good. I actually thought that was like the first real match they had together. Like it was like really, it really showed off the best of them, both of them. But Lesnar, I really like Lesnar in this match.
Yeah. Okay, now 2020. Unfortunately, COVID broke, right? And Lesnar faced Drew in the Performance Center in front of nobody. And we were at that Raw from March 2020, and right before COVID broke out. And Drew was so hot. He won the Royal Rumble, and Lesnar, he beat the shit out of Lesnar at that Raw, and the crowd lost it. We saw it. They lost their fucking minds. I was like, wow, Drew is the next guy. He might beat Lesnar at WrestleMania. But then COVID happened, and they went in. It was like 6 minutes long, and it was just, you saw the fan spinning. You heard the air conditioner buzz. It was just
it was crazy,
very uneventful. But it's nobody's fault. With COVID, it's just, you get it. Like wrestling to me gets a pass for whatever happened in 2020 because it was fun in front of nobody. And what are you gonna do? You had nothing. So
no, we skipped one match.
Yeah.
Remember the Fatal 4-Way at SummerSlam with
2017? Yeah, it was good.
Lesnar, Strowman, Roman, and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was great. Lesnar had a lot of great moments. Like, I think he was taken out of the match at one point. He was put through. This is when Strowman was sort of actually over before he was killed and by booking. But like,
this was peak Strowman. Yeah.
Yeah, Strowman like put Lesnar through a table, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" But then at one point, Lesnar came back with his gloves already off, and is holding his arm. He's pissed, and that's when he killed everybody, and he
I didn't
retained
mention.
the title
I
that
didn't.
night.
I didn't mention
Oh
the
no,
match.
he threw Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank at the Titantron from the ring.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was crazy.
Lesnar had a match with Strowman that year, No Mercy, but it wasn't that good. It was not memorable.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't bring it up. But yeah, and then after Drew beat Lesnar in front of nobody at the Performance Center, Lesnar's contract expired, and we didn't see Lesnar for literally 2 years. No, a year and a half. Lesnar returned to SummerSlam last year after the Roman Reigns John Cena match in front of like 50,000, what was it, 40,000 people in Vegas. It was insane. And Lesnar got a big reaction.
Did he come back at a Royal Rumble?
No, he came back at SummerSlam.
Oh, okay.
Last year. Yeah. Yeah, and the Roman program is happening right now again. I can't say I'm super excited because I already saw the match. I don't know if it's gonna be better. If this year, it has to be better. It has to be just as good as the WrestleMania 31 match. But I guess we could talk about Lesnar and Lashley at the Royal Rumble this year. What'd you think?
I don't know. This is another one where I'm just like, what the hell happened? Like
I think I know what happened. I know it. I think Lashley was hurt. So
I think one of the suplexes I don't think it worked out for him.
I think it was already hurt going into the match though.
Oh, he was?
Yeah. I think that's why it was not as good. And it was like a flat. It was very flat. The match was flat. And the match that was so like built very, very well. And it felt like a big deal. And
this was a huge deal. This match, I was waiting for this match for like for years.
Yeah. Like when Lashley comes back and he's healthy and Lesnar's still around, this match got to happen again.
Yeah.
Like, but okay, before we go, so I want to ask you this. So some of Lesnar's programs in his second run, especially like the second half, Lesnar's character became that he was a part-timer because he was on a limited schedule. Rightfully so, because he already put in the work. He was already a bigger star than anybody in WWE, aside from like John Cena. And he became a bigger star in UFC. He was a major superstar. So big attractions you shouldn't see all the time. When he comes back, it's got to be special. So what did you think about that whole thing? About Lesnar as a part-timer, and then the wrestlers say, you're a part-timer, and then the fans start to say, well, Lesnar sucks because he's a part-timer. What did you think about that whole thing?
I thought it was kind of stupid because think about it. It's kind of like the same thing, same thing I feel when like people criticize rappers like Kendrick Lamar for taking 4 years to make an album. It's like he doesn't need to make an album every year like a guy like Logic or Tech Nine. Kendrick, he has his album. Like no offense to them, but like his albums are very prolific in the sense that he can come out with them every now and then. Lesnar doesn't need to be on Raw every week. He really doesn't. Like he doesn't. Specifically, he doesn't need to wrestle every night. He doesn't. Like, why would you make him wrestle every night? Your most valuable guy. Why would you wear him thin? His matches are important because he wrestles every pay-per-view. Or maybe at more important pay-per-view. He's not going to wrestle. He should never wrestle at Great Balls of Fire ever again. He shouldn't wrestle at fucking Battleground. He should be wrestling at the SummerSlams, Royal Rumbles, WrestleMania. He's a big star. Like, you don't have him. The idea, the whole parts. Of course, he's a goddamn part-timer. Why would you wear that guy thin? It's not like Ricochet can wrestle every night. He should be. He should be learning more things. He has a lot to learn. But,
it's like, here's the thing. Like, I was kind of selfish because I wanted to see Lesnar as much as possible because I think he's great because the show was very, very, very thin. They had a lot of guys, but outside, when Lesnar showed up again, he had CM Punk, he had Bryan Danielson, and then he got hurt, and CM Punk left, and it was just kind of like he was the biggest thing. He was the best thing on the show. But there was a time where guys started to get hurt a whole lot because they're working so hard. They're overexposed, so they're working house shows. They're wrestling probably Raw and SmackDown and whatever, and people get sick of them because they're overexposed. You see them too many times. Braun Strowman, for example, even Seth Rollins killed as a babyface, bad booking, but at the same time, he was overexposed. We saw him way too many times.
That's
Lesnar,
that's one of my problems with Charlotte. They overexposed her.
yeah, we see her,
They put her in everything.
And she took time off, and it was like she never left. But like Andre the Giant, it was a different era. When Andre the Giant was on top, there was no live TV, right? There was no Monday Night Raw. There was no weekly episodic TV. So, but at the same time, it's like a guy like Lesnar, we should only see when it matters. Even now with Edge, we should only see him when you at a big shows, when you have something important, when there's something major, when you could actually, get some eyes on the show. So when he comes, it's like a big deal. But because I remember the problem with Lesnar as on a limited schedule, the one issue was that they made him champion. You made him champion, so but you're the biggest star, and you're not going to be around for months at a time, and now your show is just nothing, and you're not doing anything to build any other guys up, so the show suffers for it. But if he wasn't champion and you actually build up your undercard, so when Lesnar's not there, you don't really notice it. When he shows up, it's like, oh my God, Lesnar's here.
You really notice it when you're right. Like, it should be that like when he doesn't show, when he's not there, you don't notice it really because you have guys who can pick up the slack. But when he shows up, it makes it even a lot more meaningful.
Yeah, and when you put your eggs in one basket, the rest of right now, the rest of the roster kind of suffers a little bit. But at the same time, Lesnar should not be shown every week. You shouldn't, because it's gonna, the well's gonna run dry. You need to be strategic when you use a guy like Lesnar, who's high profile, who's a mega star, who's getting up there in age. So he shouldn't be, and he already paid his dues. He was already there for a few years, and when he left WWE, he became a huge, bigger star in MMA. So a guy with that high of a profile, you can't use all the time.
You want to know why CM Punk's feud with Lesnar was so cool? Because CM Punk never called Brock a part-timer.
Yeah, it was it's lazy booking to me.
Yeah, like CM Punk's problem with Brock was like, okay, I want to get to Paul Heyman. If I gotta get through you, fuck you, fine. It wasn't you're a part-timer and I'm here every week, like you're like a geek. Like
it was a match people wanted to see. So yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand like when like they put that in storyline. Whenever Roman called Goldberg a part-timer, I just wanted to like laugh or puke. It's just like so dumb.
Yeah, and it's lazy. It's cheesy. But anyway, I think Lesnar's second run in WWE is way more eventful than his first run, even though his first run was pretty interesting for a guy who's only been wrestling for like a few years at that point.
His first one was monumental because of like the few like great feuds, like with him, Angle, with him and The Rock, and
he was young.
Yeah.
But the second run, there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah,
obviously. This is the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Arriaga.
And you can follow us on the socials, Facebook, facebook.com/the Wrestling Caucus, Instagram at the Wrestling Caucus, and Twitter at Wrestling Caucus. Later days. I'm tired. I'm gonna eat some cookies.
Good night, everybody.